Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Pamela Humphreys. I'm the Director of the Macquarie University International College and English Language Centre in Sydney, Australia, and I'm very excited to welcome you all to this IELTS preparation course. For more than 30 years, our qualified and experienced teachers and testing specialists have helped thousands of students to improve their English language and academic skills and developed and delivered numerous IELTS exam preparation courses. Our IELTS Test Centre, one of the largest in Australia, has assessed thousands of candidates each year, offering both the paper-based and computer-delivered tests. Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score is a short but valuable course that we have designed to help you increase your chances of achieving your desired band score. Perhaps you're taking this course because you're sitting the IELTS exam for the first time soon and are not sure about the structure of the speaking test. Or maybe you have taken the IELTS test before and want to improve your speaking score. Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score contains content which will provide you with easy-to-implement strategies that can help you reach your goals. In this course, Rose Harvey and Jose Lara, two of our experienced English language teachers and testing specialists, will show you very useful tips, strategies and language to help you reach your goal. Before I hand over to our testing specialists, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you all the best as you prepare for your IELTS test.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score course. My name is Rose Harvey.
And I'm Jose Lara.
We're both English language teachers and testing specialists from the English Language Centre at Macquarie University, and we're really excited to be working with you over the coming weeks on this Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score course.
I have been teaching English for over 20 years, 12 of which have been here in Sydney, Australia, and my experience includes teaching general English, academic skills, and also IELTS preparation courses.
And I have over 10 years experience teaching English, including academic English, both in Australia and abroad.
The focus of the Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score course is to help you shift your performance on the IELTS speaking test from good to great. It will give you a deep understanding of the test parts, the type of language you need, as well as what the examiner is looking for when they listen to you speak.
And most importantly, the course will show you some very useful tips, strategies, and language to help you reach your goal. But before we begin, we would like to know how much you know about the test. So in the next step, we would like you to answer some questions. But don't worry, this is not a test, and the questions are quite easy. See you soon.
Hi everyone, and welcome back. So, how was the quiz? Through those questions, you have learned a bit more about the test and how it is structured. Now we would like to talk about how your IELTS speaking test is assessed. What does it mean to get a band 6, a 7, or even an 8? How do the examiners come up with a final mark? For this, we need to look at the IELTS public band descriptors, which you can download through the link below.
But before you look at these band descriptors in detail, it is important for you to understand what they were written for, which is for language and teaching specialists. So let us explain them to you. Your IELTS speaking test is assessed by a qualified examiner using 4 specific categories: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. The examiner gives you a score of 1 to 9 for each category, and your final score is an average of these.
For fluency, the examiner will look at your rate of speech. How fast or slowly do you speak? Can you speak continuously without effort? Or do you stop speaking frequently when you try to think about what to say next? Your aim is to speak at a relaxed, natural pace, not speaking too quickly, because that is not going to impress the examiner. You should also try to speak continuously with as few pauses as possible and to avoid long silences and repetition.
For coherence, you are assessed on how logically you organise your ideas. Are you using signposts like firstly or secondly to mark each stage? What sort of cohesive devices or linking words do you use to move from one idea to the next? Your aim is to organise what you say clearly and logically, and we will show you the language that you need in order to do this well.
The second criterion, lexical resource, refers to vocabulary. You will score well in this category if you use a variety of vocabulary appropriately and accurately. For a good score, you should not repeat the same words. You should look for new words and synonyms to make your vocabulary more interesting.
The third criterion is grammatical range and accuracy. And, as its name suggests, this considers the kind of grammar you use when speaking. The examiner will look at how long, complex and varied your sentences are. Are all your sentences short, or do you shift appropriately between simple and complex sentences? And how many grammatical mistakes do you make?
And the final criterion is pronunciation. For this part, you will be assessed based on how easy it is to understand you, how you use different pronunciation features to convey meaning, and how your own language influences your speech in English.
This means that as you speak, the examiner is considering all these 4 aspects of your speech.
That sounds like a difficult job.
Well, it is. But the examiners are well trained to do this, and they are regularly retrained and audited to make sure that their assessments and scores are fair to all candidates. So you should not be worried about this.
So, let's learn more about the public band descriptors with the next quiz. Hi everyone. So far you have seen how the IELTS speaking test is structured and how it is assessed. In this first part of the course, we're going to focus on part 1 of a test. And for this, I'd like you to meet Ming Wei, who has come to us looking for some advice to improve her overall performance in the IELTS speaking test. Hi Ming Wei, how are you?
Hi Jose, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. I believe you're taking the test soon, is that correct?
Yes, I'm planning to take the test in a couple of months because I want to study Master of Education at Macquarie University, and they told me that I need all band 7, including speaking. But I did the test a couple months ago and I only got 6.
Really? You only got 6? What do you think that is?
I'm not sure, maybe because of my pronunciation?
Your pronunciation? That's interesting. What do you think that?
I'm not sure. I'm from China, so English is not my first language, and I guess my pronunciation is not that good, and I would like to improve it.
I see what you mean, but many test takers are also concerned about their pronunciation. But as we saw before, the public band descriptors cover a lot more than just pronunciation, which means that you can focus on many other aspects to achieve a higher score. But let's do something. Why don't we try to go over part 1 of the test? You answer some questions, and I'll give you some strategies and help you improve.
Great, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about your hometown. Where is your hometown?
Well, I come from Shanghai, and it is one of the most enormous cities in China. And you know, it is located at the east coast, and it is about 2 hours from Beijing by plane and about 4 hours on a high-speed train.
What is your hometown like?
It is a huge city, you know. It has population like around 25 million people. I'm not so sure actually, but it is considered the business region of the country, you know, so it is full of tall races, shopping malls, and commercial towers. There are lots of restaurants and many things to do.
What is your favorite part of your hometown?
Definitely the shopping malls. There are so many of them actually. Most of them are really nice brands and stores from all over the world. I always go there with my friends actually, and we stay hours, mostly shoppings at windows. Well, I come from Shanghai, and as you may know, it is one of the largest cities in China. It is located on the coast, well, the east coast, of course. It's about 2 hours from Beijing by plane and about 4 hours on a high-speed train. Shanghai is huge. It has a population of almost 25 million people, I think. It is considered the business hub of the country, so it is full of high rises, shopping malls, and commercial towers. There is a lot of restaurants and many things to do. Well, definitely, the shopping malls. There are so many of them and most offer really nice stores and brands from all over the world. I always go there with my friends and we spend hours, mostly doing window shopping.
Okay, let's now talk about your family. How large is your family?
Well, because of the one-child regulations in China, most families are very small. So I'm the only kid in my family. So it is me, my parents, and now my grandparents in the residence. My grandparents have to move from one of the provinces to Shanghai because they are old people and my parents want to take after them.
Who do you get along with best in your family?
I get along well with everyone in my family, but I think I get along best with my mother. She's like my best friend. I miss her a lot now that I moved to Sydney. When I was back home, we went shopping regularly and she taught me so many things like how to use my economy. I really miss her.
Do you want to have a large family in the future?
Of course I do. Well, I want to have 2 or 3 kids. When I was a child, I was always feeling very boring and I don't want my kids to live that. But I can't think about kids now. I need to learn hard at university and graduate. I can think about having a family later. Well, because of the one-child policy in China, most families are very small, with only 1 kid. So I'm the only child in my family. So it is only me, my parents, and my grandparents at home. My grandparents have to move from their province to Shanghai because they were elderly people, and my parents want to look after them. I get along well with everyone in my family, but I think I get along best with my mother. She's like my best friend. I miss her a lot, especially now I moved to Sydney. When I was back home, we went shopping regularly and she taught me so many things, like how to manage my finances. I really miss her. Of course I do. Well, I want to have 2 or 3 kids. When I was a child, I was always feeling very bored, and I don't want my kids to experience that. But I can't think of having a kids now. I need to study hard and graduate. I can think about having a family later.
Let's move on to talk about cooking. Do you cook much?
Oh no, I do not cook much. I would like to cook more though, but I have very little time. This is another reason why I miss my mother so much. I really miss her food. I would say half of the time I eat out or take something quick from a food court.
Do you usually follow recipes when you cook?
I try, but almost never. When I cooked, I usually prepare simple things, nothing fancy, but I do not really like to follow a recipe. One of the reasons why I do not like follow recipe is because they have a lot of things in it.
When was the last time you cooked for someone?
Oh, it was a long time ago. I'm not sure, but I think the last time was a cake for my friend. It was her birthday, but I used the wrong white things, the white powder, so the taste was not very delicious. I do not think my friend was very happy with my cake. Oh no, I don't cook much. I've loved to spend more time in the kitchen cooking, but I'm always short of time. This is another reason why I miss my mom so much. I really miss her cuisine. I would say half of the time I eat out or grab something quick from a food court. I try, but I hardly ever do it. When I cooked, I usually prepare simple dishes, nothing fancy. I don't really need to follow a recipe. One of the reasons why I don't like follow recipe is because they have a lot of ingredients. Oh, it was ages ago. I'm not sure. If my memory doesn't fail me, it was a cake I baked for a friend. It was her birthday. Unfortunately, I used the wrong kind of flour and the cake didn't taste good. I don't think my friend was thrilled with how the cake turned out.
Well done, Mingwei.
Thank you, Jose. This has been a really good advice. I feel more confident now.
I'm glad you feel better now. And I can actually see that you implemented the advice quite well and your performance really improved. And the best part is that you realized that pronunciation was not the main part to improve your responses. Now, I'd like to give you some more tips for part 1 of a test. Tip 1. Show enthusiasm. Show that you're interested in the question the examiner is asking you and show that you're willing to communicate. Tip 2. Develop your ideas. Try to say interesting things about yourself. You can do this by avoiding yes/no answers. You should develop your answers by explaining, suggesting, giving opinions, and providing examples. Your answers should be about 20 seconds in length. Tip 3. Let the examiner interrupt you. Don't worry if this happens more than once. In fact, this is a good sign, as it means that you are speaking at length. Tip 4. Stay on topic. Be careful and make sure your answers are relevant to the questions. Tip 5. Avoid asking questions to the examiner. In this part of the test, do not ask the examiner questions like, "What about you?" The examiner will not respond. Tip 6. Correct yourself. If you are speaking and realize that you've made a mistake, don't be afraid to correct yourself. Do this in a confident way. Instead of saying, "Oh, I made a mistake," you can say, "Sorry, that's not what I meant," or "Let me say that again." Tip 7. Ask for clarification. If you did not understand a question, it is okay to ask the examiner to repeat it again. Once again, be confident when doing so. Instead of saying "what" or "repeat please," use appropriate language like, "Excuse me, can you repeat that?" or "Do you mind repeating the question, please?" However, keep in mind that in part 1, the examiner will just repeat the question. They will not paraphrase it or explain it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of the course. In the last section, you met Mingwei. We gave her some advice on fluency, vocabulary, and pronunciation. In this part, I'd like to introduce you to Camilo, who has also come to us looking for some advice for his IELTS speaking test. Hi Camilo, how are you?
Hi, Jose. I'm doing great, thanks.
So Camilo, can you tell us a bit more about yourself? Where are you from and why are you taking the IELTS test?
Well, I am from Colombia. I came to Australia about 2 years ago to study and improve my English. I am now planning to take the IELTS test because I want to enroll for a master's degree. It will be my first time to take the test, and I am a bit nervous, especially about the speaking test. My friends have told me that section 2 of the test is not easy and that I have to prepare well for it.
Well, yes, part 2. I think many test takers would agree with your friends. I believe they find this part difficult because they have problems developing and organizing their ideas in a logical way. And it can be particularly hard when you have to speak for about 2 minutes on a single topic. Do you think you can speak for 2 minutes?
Yes, I think I can.
All right, let's do it then. Here is a topic card and a question. I'd like you to speak about an item of technology that you use to make your daily life easier. You have 1 minute to plan your answer.
Okay, thanks. I would like to talk about an item of technology that I frequently use that makes my life easier, my laptop computer. It is a small computer that you can carry and take with you, you know. I bought it about 2 years ago here when I first came to Sydney. I usually use my laptop on the bus and the train. It's very convenient because it is quite small and light. I live with my sister, you know, so sometimes at home, if my sister is using the other computer there for herself, for her work, she needs to use the computer a lot. I use my laptop very often, almost every day, usually in the evenings. Although I don't use it as much on the weekends. My laptop makes my life easier because I can use it everywhere and whenever I want it. It's there to use. I don't have to wait for someone else to finish using it. It's very convenient. Well, I also use it for entertainment. I watch series and movies. It's like watching movies on television, but I think the quality on my laptop is really good. I mean, much clearer than on television. So yes, my laptop makes my daily life much easier. Well, there are many technological items that I use on a daily basis that make my life easier. But I have to say that one that I use most frequently is my laptop. Well, as you know, laptops are very convenient. They are small and light, so it's very easy and convenient to carry them with you. I bought my laptop about 2 years ago when I first arrived in Sydney, and I bought for several reasons. The first reason, and perhaps the most important one, was for my studies. I use it a lot to do my assignments, and I know I will use it even more when I start my master's degree. Another reason was for entertainment. So, for example, I use it to watch TV series online, to watch movies, and to listen to the news. Actually, I watch the news from my country every night from my laptop. When it comes to how frequent I use it, well, I use my laptop quite often. I think I use it every day, but not so much on the weekends, because I try to disconnect from technology as much as I can. Having a laptop has definitely made my life easier. I save my time when doing my assignments because now I don't have to go to my school, wait for a computer to be free, then print. It's just much easier for me. Also, I save money because I don't have to use my mobile phone to call my family back to Colombia, which is very nice.
So Camilo, how do you feel now? Do you still think that part 2 of the test is difficult?
Well, not really. I feel more prepared now.
That's really good to hear. For part 2 of the speaking test, organizing your ideas is essential, and planning is crucial to achieve that. Now, I will give you some more tips for this part of the test. Tip 1. Use your planning time effectively. You only have 1 minute. Preparing well can help you to reach the 2-minute time limit and to speak cohesively. This preparation can also help you to make sure your answers follow the same order as the prompts on the topic card. Tip 2. Use all of the prompts. This ensures that you address all parts of the question. Tip 3. Add your own prompts. Some candidates find that using the 3 or 4 prompts in the topic card is not enough to speak for about 2 minutes. You can add more information as long as you stay on topic. Tip 4. Speak casually. You are not answering a question for a job interview. Relax and speak as if you were speaking or telling a story to a friend. Of course, avoid using offensive language or bad words. This way, your spoken language will flow more naturally and you may leave a better impression on the examiner. Tip 5. Expect no feedback from the examiner. They are not allowed to assist you or comment on your presentation. They will simply move on to the next part of a speaking test. Tip 6. Let the examiner stop you. Believe it or not, this is what you want to happen. If the examiner stops you, it means that you have spoken for 2 minutes.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this final section of the course on the IELTS speaking test. For this section of the course, I'd like to introduce you to Ari, who has come to see us to get some help with his speaking test. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. And can you let me know why you're going to be taking the IELTS test?
Well, recently I finished my bachelor's degree. Now I'm planning to do my master's degree in Australia. So that's the reason I'm taking this IELTS exam. The last time I took it, I did not get good scores and could not qualify. So that's the reason I'm retaking the exam to qualify this time.
I'm really sorry to hear that you didn't get the score that you needed, but I do think that it's great that you're already familiar with the structure of the test. How are you feeling about taking the test for a second time?
To be honest, I'm a bit nervous, especially for part 3, which I find it to be a bit challenging. It might be personal, but I think part 3 is a bit difficult.
I actually think it's quite common to find part 3 a little bit difficult, and I think the main reason for this is because the questions are a little bit more hypothetical than in part 1 or part 2. However, I do think it's something that I can help you with. Why don't we have a look at some of the topics that you may see in part 3? You do some example responses and then I'll give you some feedback on those.
That will be great.
Let's talk about studying at university. How do you think university will change in the future?
University will change a lot. One of the main ways to relate to technology. I think universities will start to use even more computers and online content. Many universities do this now. In the future, I think the online content will be more integrated.
What do you think causes students to drop out of university?
Sometimes it is because they choose the wrong subject. Maybe they think that choose something that they don't like, or they can't keep up with the assignments and they feel lost. Sometimes it is that they don't have the money to pay for the course fees. They have to work a lot and they can't balance their lives. Sometimes they have pressure from family. Maybe they have to look after children or pay bills for the house.
What would you study at university if you decided to go back and study again?
I always wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't study it because it was a long course and I didn't want to spend that long. Instead, I became a teacher. I like teaching, but I don't love it. I think being a doctor is a better job for me than teaching. I'm interested in medicine and helping people get better. Well, one of the main ways that it will alter is related to the technology which is used in the courses. I think universities will start to use even more computers and online content because they will need to engage students. It is true that many universities do this now, but in the future I think the online content will become more integrated. Sometimes it is because they choose the wrong subject. Because of this, they can't keep up with the assignments and they feel lost, so they decide to quit. Another reason is that they don't have the money to pay for the course fees. As a result, they have to work a lot and they can't balance their lives. Another common reason is that they have pressure from family, like looking after their kids or paying bills. Well, I always wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid, and I just wish I had studied it. I think being a doctor is a better job for me than teaching because it is what I really love. If I could go to uni again, I would study medicine and then become a doctor who helps children around the world. I think I would be really good at it.
Let's now talk about sport and exercise. Can you tell me why you think people nowadays often get less exercise than previous generations?
There is lots of reasons for this one. One of the main one would probably be television and computers. Much people's when they come home from work just sit down and turn the television or computer on and don't do nothing. Without televisions or computers, people will go out more and do things after work, giving them exercise. Cars and other kind of transport have also changed, and much peoples prefer not to walk as far as they used to.
Do you think governments should subsidise the cost of sports equipment for children?
That's an interesting question. No, I don't think that they should to pay for this one. It isn't really the government responsibilities to pay for sports equipment. It's not their fault. For myself, if people want to exercise, there are many options for them which do not requiring many equipment. I think governments have more important things to focus on. In my opinion, it's more important for governments to pay for education and healthcare.
Some professional sportsmen earn more than other professionals. Do you think this is justified?
No, I don't think this is justified. I know that some sportmen and sportwomen make a lot of monies when they play sport like tennis, soccer, but this is too much. I know they are talent that they have many followers, many fans, but this not mean that they're more smart than doctors. For example, the doctors saves lives. It is very important, while sportsmen only entertains, which is more important. There are lots of reasons. One of the main ones would probably be television and computers. Many people, when they come home from work, just sit down and turn the television or computer on and do nothing. Without televisions or computers, people would go out more and do things after work, giving them exercise. Cars and other kinds of transport have also changed, and many people prefer not to walk as far as they used to. That's an interesting question. No, I don't think that they should pay for this. It isn't really the government's responsibility to pay for sports equipment. It's not their fault. For me, if people want to exercise, there are many other options for them that do not require any equipment. I think that governments have other more important things to focus on. In my opinion, it's more important for governments to pay for education, healthcare. No, I don't think this is justified. I know that some sportsmen and sportswomen make a lot of money when they play sports like tennis, soccer, but this is too much. I know they are talented, that they have many followers, many fans, but this does not mean that they are smarter than doctors, for example. Doctors save lives. It's very important. While the sportsmen and women only entertain, which one is more important?
So, Ari, how did you feel about those questions from part 3 of the speaking test?
Well, I definitely felt more confident the second time I answered the questions after the tips you gave me.
I'm really glad to hear that. Just make sure you use that advice every time you practice.
Sure. So, do you have any other advice for part 3 of the exam?
I do. Here are some tips for part 3 of the IELTS speaking test. Tip 1, develop your ideas. To provide well-developed answers, you should give an opinion, followed by a reason, and then provide an example. You may also want to consider aspects about the past or the future regarding the question asked. Tip 2, do most of the speaking. While it is a conversation, it is important that you don't try to ask the examiner questions. Tip 3. Ask for clarification. If you do not understand a question, it's okay to ask the examiner to repeat it again. Unlike part 1, in this part of the test, the examiner may paraphrase the question. Tip 4. Avoid saying, "I don't know." Instead, use expressions such as, "I'm not quite sure about that, but I think," or "I hadn't thought about that before, but I'd probably say."
Hello again, everyone, and well done for completing Improve Your IELTS Speaking Score. I hope the last few weeks were enriching and useful. You have gained some valuable strategies that will assist you in achieving your desired band score. Soon you will be taking the test, and we hope you now feel better prepared and more confident. From the Macquarie University English Language Centre and the IELTS Test Centre teams, we wish you all the best.